Today's episode is all about music and how music benefits our children. Keep watching, guys.
Yeah, keep watching. So, Simrit, quickly choose what you can give up, music or TV?
TV any day. Any day.
Books or music?
No. Now you're just being cruel to me. Don't make me choose that. I can't do that.
I knew it.
I can't do it. No. Books, music. Oh my God. I can't do that. I want to read. My dream vacation is reading books next to a water body with music playing in the background. No,
Wow.
I can't give up music. Music brings up so many emotions. I feel calmer, happier, sometimes sadder, depending on my mood, the song, the lyrics. They can bring up sad feelings up.
Isn't it amazing that there is a music for every moment, every emotion, and every situation?
Absolutely. And then so much nostalgia.
Oh, yeah,
so much
definitely.
I have to hear the first two beats of a Kishore Kumar or Lata Mangeshkar song, and I'm transported to the back seat of my parents' Cadillac back in the 70s. They had the 8-track on. I don't know if anybody knows. Oh my God, I'm so old. Or, hear the intro to a Cyndi Lauper or Wham song, and immediately I'm a teenager, all retro with my cousins sitting in my bedroom talking about boys. I mean, they say smell invokes the strongest feeling of nostalgia, but for me, it's completely music. I need music all the time, and my mom says that when I was a baby, like literally a baby in a baby seat, and she was working working in the house. She was a housewife. So she would put me in front of the speaker of a stereo and leave me. And she goes, you'd be sleeping or taking a nap or quietly listening to music. And I would just do my work. So I think that started really early with me. I don't know what the long-term effect of my hair is.
I can see the effect of it.
But now my son has the same love for music that I do. We go for a drive, we're listening to our music. He even studies with his music on, which was what I would do. I mean, I love music.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, music possesses that unique ability to, evoke those powerful emotions and, transport us back to time, triggering those wild recollection of those specific moments or periods in our lives, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't remember exactly how I was introduced to music, but one thing I remember very well, is my childhood memories that I always enjoyed and danced on all kind of music, party, function, wedding. I remember myself dancing on music. So I remember being at
a little version of you. I've seen a little version of you running around doing this.
Absolutely, I see that myself. So, and I remember there used to be those cassette players, and I would just play the cassettes again and again just to listen to those lyrics and then dancing and singing along. So, I mean, it was crazy. So, I think music is amazing, and I love it.
So that's what we're going to talk about with our guest today. She knows a lot about music too.
Yeah.
Well, today on the show, we have with us Ishani Lahiri, a musician and a teacher, or as she describes it best, a musician who loves to teach. She's the founder of the Rocktara Academy, and she's super passionate about her students and invoking a love for music in children. In fact, I can vouch for her that all the kids who join her classes not just love learning music and fall in love with music, but fall in love with her too. So That's a testament to her.
That's amazing.
Ishani.
That's an amazing introduction.
Welcome, Ishani. Welcome to Talk to Us Today.
Thank you so much, Namita and Simrit.
So, we all have heard, exposing children to music is very beneficial. But we really don't know what are the real benefits. And, and also I want to know how early can we expose children to formal music training?
Okay, that's a good one. I think we are all living in Delhi. I think, a few years back, there was this program which was started for toddlers. So I was myself very surprised when I saw that program. So I believe that yes, very young kids can also be put in proper training. Although I start from around 4.5, and
Wow.
Okay, that's
yes,
young.
so that's quite young. But I think it's best because then it becomes a part of their life. So they can't pull out that easily, and they get into it like from their hearts. So the youngest, I would say, a safe age would be 5 or 6. That would be a good safe bet. But yes, people start earlier. People start by 7, 8. So there's no magic number, but you can say 5 or 6.
Wow.
What about how old they can be? Like somebody like
Yeah.
me who loves singing music, but I've never had formal training.
No, you've got to love singing, and there's no age, right? I mean, we all learn so much when we are adults. So why not music? I don't believe that you should not learn just because you're, on the other side of 30 or 40 or whatever it is. Although
I
none of
wish
you
I was
will.
just on the other side of 30. So what are the benefits, as Namita said?
If I have to kind of speak about it, I would say the benefits can be clubbed into three major benefits. So one is like an emotional benefit, an emotional growth sort of a benefit that a kid has. The second would be a physical angle, and the third would be a spiritual angle. So as we know, emotional side of things can be regulation of our emotions. So as adults, let's say we are speaking and one of us doesn't like the other, so we can regulate our emotions of anger or hurt or something. But children don't know how to express their emotions. So when they're exposed to different kinds of music, like music has different emotions too. So they learn to relate that with their real life, and then they can regulate themselves in different situations. So they can learn to communicate better, they can learn to express better, and that's a very big benefit that we see with our students and children. So you all have kids, and they started, nursery. So they had all these tools and toys, right, to help with their motor skills and touching stuff, and how to write with a pencil. So with playing an instrument, these motor skills start to develop in kids.
Well, I
So
feel very, for me, I like the moment music starts, dancing is one thing that comes up. So the physical comes there in my house. So
exactly. So that is it. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It does happen. Your body starts to move. So there are so many effects that music will have on you. And spiritual, it's like finding a friend. I mean, of course, it's I mean, we can't push kids to spirituality, but when they grow up, then they start to understand that music is their friend. So even if they have nobody for whatsoever period of time, let's say they are in a hostel or they're away from their country, so they'll always have something to look forward to or be with.
About like
So
what you were talking about instrument. Now, is there
yeah.
something as a music teacher who does both? Is there something better, like to learn an instrument versus vocal training? Because a lot of parents now are so caught up with the rat race that they feel like, oh, playing an instrument is going to look better on their resume. And I'm like, they're 9 or 10, leave them alone. Like, just let them do what they want. So, and then even when, to be honest, even when we started, my son learns with you, and that's how we met. And when he started, and they're like, no, but you should teach him classical first and then go to Western. Like, let him do what he enjoys. So what do you have to say as the expert?
I don't say that voice is not an instrument. When you apply to music schools, let's say, if you're 18 and your child is applying to a music school, your voice will be, considered a separate instrument. So in India, we don't have that concept, right? We think that singing is something that is very, wishy-washy, and you're singing, it's simple, but actually no, voice is an instrument. So I hope that makes you a little happier, because there's no demeaning, voice training. So there's no.
But what about classical versus Western pop, like we're saying?
So a major benefit which the physical aspect of music gives us is that it develops our brain. Like you get a workout, right? You go for a walk, or you do your yoga. So the brain works out when you're exposed to music. So that's what classical music does it the best. So if somebody is recommending that, then I think that's what they're getting at, that classical music is so complex and layered. that it really helps your brain develop the most. But on the ground level, yeah, we don't teach Indian classical because of the sheer business side of it. There are no takers. But yes, we still teach Western classical. I still do the Western classical course, which is the Trinity College London course. But yes, kids keep crying. Oh, ma'am, this piece is so slow. So it's tough to show them at the moment that it's going to help them. So I struggle with that. I don't know what you guys feel as parents.
So it's
Pushing
very,
kids to do something.
Ishani, you mentioned a very interesting point where you mentioned about brain connections and, how music helps in making those connections. So, I'm little getting more curious about it. So, do you think in some ways, music therapy benefits children with learning disabilities or, learning challenges that they have these days? And especially if I would have to say like kids with different abilities. So how it can benefit them and what kind of music?
So yeah. So I started out when I was around 24. So in my experience, there has been one child who was on the autism spectrum, and I felt that he benefited a lot. But in India, the studies and the actual work been done with music therapy is less. But if you travel abroad, they work a lot with therapy. So they use music and they try to communicate with children who can't just speak to you, normally. If you call their name, they're not going to respond to you. So they use, music for them to express themselves, and then they can communicate with the adult better. So I feel it's completely untapped in India right now, like 0.1%.
So do the teachers need special training to do that?
Yes, and I think that's what stops somebody like me from, doing it very actively, because you need qualifications. And we are qualified as teachers, but not as special music therapists, because that's a whole domain in itself. So there's a lot of scope.
And so how do parents encourage their children to pursue music as a hobby, or, they're getting bored. There was an issue. We don't want to.
Oh dear. That's a struggle in itself. And I feel myself aging with every month.
Don't say that.
Age is just a number.
No, but I can feel myself aging because, the gap between every few years, the generational gap builds up. And as you all know, that kids want to do something so different. Every few years, the kids have something different. Like, there was Pokemon, then there are these, video games. And then what happens is the music we're doing in the class, it gets old. So, they want to do music that they've heard on the video games, on YouTube.
Wow.
And so I teach that sometimes, I would take up those activities, but it's not like I can change my curriculum every few months. So that's what I struggle with. It probably sounds ridiculous, but yes, things are getting old. So
sorry, but like attention spans are getting shorter, right?
Yeah,
that's the whole problem. Yeah,
absolutely. You see on YouTube shorts, right? They're the shorts. There's nothing like long format anymore. So we have to pull our kids in. So I'm not going to sound like I know everything, because I don't. But I'm just going to speak from experience. One of my oldest students, this kid, when he started at 3.5. This child, I once asked him, how do you know so many songs? Like, he was just 5 and he would know all the songs. He would say, Mom, I know this and stuff. So he told me, when I go to school, my father drops me and he has dedicated the days of the week as per the styles of music. So,
wow,
very cool.
that's so thoughtful, right? So he'd dedicate like a Monday to, let's say, rock, a Tuesday to pop, classical, and he would keep shuffling and he would keep doing that. So that dose of music would keep going into the child. So it was such a brilliant idea. I think just that soft exposure is important for parents.
Wow.
You can rack your brains. Like, what would be that exposure that you can give to your kids, whether it's the car or whether it's Alexa, during cleaning time or during family time. So that's something that parents need to think of.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ishani. And it was informative speaking to you, and I can see why kids love you so much.
Thank you, Namita, and thank you, Simrit.
So today's takeaway is expose your children to music and let them enjoy the benefit along the way. Well, that's
Well
our
said.
practice today. But we look forward to hearing from you all. Please let us know what you think about our today's episode by sending us an email at hello@talktoustoday.com. Or you can also comment in the comment section. Also, if you want more information about Ishani, that will be there in the description box.
Also, we're now available as a podcast on Spotify under the same name, Talk to Us Today. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to stay notified of our new videos every Friday at 6 p.m. Thank you for joining us on Talk to Us Today. Keep smiling, keep laughing, talking, singing, and
listening.
music.
Yeah, listening to music. That's wonderful. Thank you, Ishani.
Thank you, everyone.
So much.